Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, February 21st, and you know what that means. It's time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. Unlike today's show topic, I'm rolling solo. It's your host, Jeremy Pierce. You know you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215. In today's show, Faction Warfare number 7. I had to go find my notes, and numbers are all mixed up, but we're here. We're going to talk about some factions today. It will not be overtly Black History themed, but there will be a black faction in there. But for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. This list is very simple. It's who right now could benefit from a faction. Start with number 5, Royce Keys. Look, the former powerhouse Hobbs has been in many factions when he was in AEW. Lastly, being in the Ops, which was a great faction. Well, still is a faction. But ever since coming to the WWE, he's made one appearance, and that was the Royal Rumble, and we haven't heard from him since. And they have to differentiate him from Obafemi, and being in a faction will definitely do that. He might need a mouthpiece, which he really doesn't need, but just to be a hitter for someone. And before Ray Phoenix is drowning. He is drowning on SmackDown when he was in AEW. He was a part of the Death Triangle, a very, very dangerous faction where they were presented as top contenders, top challengers, and top people, and he is doing absolutely nothing right now in the WWE. Being in a faction would be tremendous for him, and ultimately it would get him on TV just a little bit more. It really kind of needs to happen. Number 3, Candice LeRae. She has been in mainly 2 factions in the WWE, but one of the best women's wrestlers on your roster can't even get any screen time, and that just sucks. She, I would say, along with her husband Johnny Gargano, would really benefit from a faction. Nothing like Division, but something where some veterans can come together just to cause and wreak havoc. Candice LeRae is being so wasted in the WWE right now. It's not even funny, and I just want to see her on TV some more. Number 2, Lita Cross, the newest signing of AEW, was probably making her way over soon, and now you can either put her in a tag team or make her a heater for someone, but there's already built a storyline with her and Megan Bayne before, and I think there's where a faction can come together. I think Lena Cross, even though she has a similar build to Megan Bayne, and Megan Bayne is pretty awesome, Lena Cross could be that initial wild card for this new group that could actually wreak havoc, because we do need more all-female factions. So number 1, Paul Walter Hauser, the Golden Globe winning, Emmy winning actor, is also a professional wrestler, and he is great. He loves the business, he respects the business, and I just have him here because even when he shows up on TV, he definitely has some backup, and I think just a group that will always have his back would absolutely do him wonders, where they can do a lot of the heavy lifting and he doesn't have to wrestle as often. He would actually probably go great in the conglomeration. Just think about that one. We'll be right back. The spotlight is back on and is shining on my man, the limitless one, Keith Lee. Now, he hasn't been in the ring in probably 2 or 3 years, but he's dealt with some medical issues, and it sidelined him, and it was really, really bad. It had us concerned, especially after the death of Bray Wyatt. But we now know that Keith is happy well, he obviously happy. He's healthy, and he is ready to go. I'm still upset that he never got the one-on-one match with Swerve, but seeing where Swerve's story is heading, quite possibly we could get that. Keith Lee is an immensely amazing talent, and we're waiting for his inevitable return to AEW. And for me, I think even though AEW is a little bit crowded, he could really benefit from Ring of Honor. I think Tony Khan is close to getting a TV deal. This is just me speculating, but Keith Lee is someone that you can definitely have at the upper echelon of Ring of Honor. I am just happy he's in good spirits, that he's healthy, that he's ready to go, and to show everyone once again why he is limitless. So we are back once again with Faction Warfare. I enjoy episodes like these because we can just talk, we can have fun, we can break things down. So on the last episode of Faction Warfare, we looked at the System, the Outcasts, and the Wyatt's 6. And we can always go back and revisit these squads. Especially someone like the Y6 who's kind of seemed to be floundering, and the Outcasts are no more, and the System literally just revamped their roster, which is good. You got to do that with factions. There's one faction right now there's a couple of factions that have really, always changed, always updated, and that is good. And we'll have episodes that will be completely dedicated to like DX and the NWO, which is probably a 2-part episode. The Bullet Club. We're gonna get there. We're gonna have some fun with it. But once again, just a refresher on factions. Factions are groups of usually 3 or more, and they're usually have a good number of like 4. And it's usually broken down into a world champion, a mid-card champion, and a tag team. Rarely do you get a faction of like 4 separate guys that are all at the top. Now, everybody can't be the main event mafia, right? But you will get something like that every so often. So here we are with factions, right? I think they are so important to the overall health and growth of professional wrestling because it allows people to get onto TV where they wouldn't be if they were separate. So factions, that's the biggest help that they do. So from past examples, we've seen it with Damage Control, right? We've seen it with the Right to Censor. We've seen it with the System. Like, you can just break it down right there. Moose was almost always world champion in the System. So, who do we have today? We are going to start with the Elegance brand and TNA. So, the Elegance brand consists of Ash by Elegance, who's the leader, Heather by Elegance, and M by Elegance, Mr. Elegance, who just joined, and the Personal Concierge. So, who are these people, right? They have won titles in TNA, Knockouts Champion, Knockouts Tag Team Championship. They're currently the Knockouts Tag Team Champion, held by M by Elegance and Heather by Elegance. So, who are they? So, we go back to 2024 when... Actually, even before that, we have to start with Dana Brooke. So Dana Brooke, after being let go by the WWE, joined TNA, right? In 2024, she debuted at Hard to Kill, going by the name Ash by Elegance. And she made her debut as a heel, whatever. She built up a winning streak, and she was winning, right? She was winning matches, and she unsuccessfully challenged for the Knockouts Championship, mainly going up against Jordan Grace at the time. So she then teamed up with the Militia, who was, I believe, Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards, to go up against Jordan Grace, Daniel Luna, and Jody Threat. Losing effort. So she then began a partnership with Heather Reckless, who had recently joined TNA. They had been helping each other win their matches, right? So Ash, who is like, she's glamour, right? Her name is Ash, and she is by Elegance. We don't know who Elegance is, what they are, whatever. And you know, it's this gimmick of kind of like Timeless Tony Storm. People really were going at them, comparing Ash to Tony Storm, like that was the first time women have done glamorous gimmicks, like Sherry Martel and Charmel didn't exist. So she gave Heather Reckless a makeover and renamed her Heather by Elegance, and Heather started dressing like Ash, and they went on to defeat Zaya Brookside and Brilliant Reese in their tag team debut. They then faced Daniel Luna and Jody Threat, losing and not winning the Knockouts tag team titles, but they eventually won them as Sacrifice. So now we have them as the Knockouts champion. Then Maggie Lee joined the Elegance brand as M by Elegance. So now you've got Ash, you've got Heather, you've got M, and now you have the personal concierge, and things are just growing and growing. So Dana actually ends up having to semi-retire from professional wrestling because there was something wrong, and she eventually became the Elegance brand's manager. So after her winning the Knockout title, right, and then having to leave the ring, she went on to be the valet for her team of Heather and M. So it's been a beautiful friendship of them working together. She has elevated them, and it helps that she went on to support them and be their manager. That is a thing of beauty because you rarely see that. But the Elegance brand have become just a solid part of TNA wrestling. Heather Reckless is 4'9". Heather's 4'9", and I believe Ash is 5. She's got to be like 5'6", and Maggie Lee is Maggie M by Elegance. She's the tallest one. She's probably knocking on 6 feet. The Ash is 5'3". So then they were, as Ash was coming back, looking for a guy, right? Because the personal concierge, she's not doing anything. He's been with Ash and Heather from the beginning. And when Ash was gone, he was still there for the group. So those are the OGs, and Maggie joining has helped. And then you have Mr. Elegance joining, and he's the newest addition to the Elegance brand. And they have been one of the most consistent forces in all of TNA wrestling. The Elegance brand brings a unique quality, and I don't really think they're going to go anywhere. Now that Ash is back and healthy and wrestling again, you really can't beat that. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what else they can do. I love female factions. We need more of them. So the Elegance brand, I like it. They're not going anywhere. I could see more joining the group, maybe adding another guy or even another girl, someone that could definitely benefit from the rub of being with the Elegance brand. And then we move over to NXT and the newest faction, the Vanity Project. Now, they are primarily part of Evolve. They consist of, right now, Brad Baylor, Jackson Drake, and Ricky Smokes. Jackson Drake is the current Evolve Men's Champion, and now they are officially part of NXT. See, the Vanity Project, they are honestly, they're WWE's newest breakout faction. I don't like them. I think they are assholes, but the WWE is working on getting them over. They also have former members in Bryce Donovan and Zeta Steele, who's now a part of AEW and Ring of Honor, where she's probably going to thrive just a little bit more. The Vanity Project, right, comes out of the WWE ID development program, and that helps. Evolve is the development show for the development show, so you see a lot of exposure between crossover between Evolve and NXT. So the Vanity Project are clearly what they say, they're vain, and you see this group of wrestlers, they have go away heat. That's like, we hate you, we don't want to see you, you are annoying, go the F away. And even starting in the early days, you've had Bryce Donovan, you've had Jackson Drake. Zeta Steele is probably the biggest breakout, and it was kind of strange when WWE let her go, but they are popular with the WWE crowd. And now that they are on NXT, they had to be on NXT because NXT lost a lot of their top stars. They are going to get a push, right? Jackson Drake has already been in kind of at the top of the card of matches. He was in a number one contenders match. I believe he might have even been in that ladder match to crown the new NXT champion. But they have a long way to go, right? Because they're young and they're still green and they're rough around the edges, but they have their characters down pat. Even though I do think that Zeta and Jackson will ultimately be the ones who break out of the group. And sticking with Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about the blackest of black factions, and that is the current iteration of Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane Taylor Promotions are pretty much running Ring of Honor right now. So Shane Taylor Promotions consists of Shane Taylor, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean of the Infantry, Trisha Dora, and Anthony Ogogo. Am I missing somebody? Oh, and Lee Moriarty. So they're black. They're blackety black, but black. And they are just this part of Ring of Honor that's kind of ingrained into the whole system of the show. So the OG of the group, the leader of the group, is Shane Taylor. This guy has been an integral part of Ring of Honor since 2014, and he's been back. He has such a unique look. You look at Shane Taylor and you're like, how can this guy be a pro wrestler? But he's just so good in the ring. And he's been a big part of the trios division in Ring of Honor. He's good on the mic and he can always give you a great match. Then you have Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, who during the early days of AEW were honestly they were jobbers. They were there to help get people over, but they grew and I you discover that Sean Dean is the guy that's in charge of bringing in the independent talent and the extras for work in AEW. And he's been rewarded with that. So you have Shane Taylor, you have Carly Bravo, you have Sean Dean, you have who I think is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, who's very underrated, Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty. That guy is so good. He is the current, I believe, pure champion, because I think that Nick Wayne is the current TV champion who is out with an injury. But Tiger Style, he's one of the best technical wrestlers that you will see today. When I say he has the adoration of both Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness, that says a lot. That says a lot. That, oh man, you got to remember. So some people know this, but some people don't know this. When the BCC first got started, right? You had Mox, you had Claudio, you had Bryan Danielson. They wanted a fourth member, and it came down to Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and Lee Moriarty. Bryan Danielson wanted Lee Moriarty. That shows you how much of a belief he has in Lee Moriarty. Ultimately, Daniel Garcia at the time, he was going back over to either going into the BCC or the Jericho Appreciation Society. He ultimately chose the JAS, and Wheeler Yuta was still a part of the Best Friends, and Lee Moriarty ultimately ended up being going to Shane Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta ended up joining the BCC after this amazing, just bloody match he had with Jon Moxley on Rampage. Then you have, in my opinion, probably the least used member of the faction, whose bag ultimately been fumbled. That's Anthony Ogogo, and they've been trying to rehab him. I can't even remember the last time Anthony Ogogo had a match, and when I see him show up with Shane Taylor, I forget that he's still in the company, and it sucks because Anthony has a great look. He's good on the mic, and this all goes back to losing that stupid ass feud with Cody Rhodes. Anthony Ogogo is someone who definitely needs to benefit more, and I need to see him more in the ring. And then you have the female of the group, Trish Adora, who's just really good, and she's now making waves because the name of her finisher is the Lariat Tubman. You ain't gonna find anybody blacker than her in professional wrestling. So the Shane Taylor Promotions, I think, are the quintessential faction you have right now in Ring of Honor. They are just killing it. They have a great they have, remember when I said earlier in the show, when you have factions, you have the basics of world champion, tag team, mid-card, so on and so forth. Well, if you break it down, Shane Taylor's the world champion. You have the infantry in the tag team, right? You have Lee Moriarty in the mid-card title, and then you have Trish Adora for the women's title. And they added somebody else, some random new girl, because Carly Bravo can't keep his thing in his pants. But they're great, and I am begging, pleading for this TV show that Tony Khan ultimately is trying to get Ring of Honor. If it was me, I would just have him do a streaming show on Prime or Max, because remember, Evolve comes on Tubi, and Tubi, ladies and gentlemen, is free. But I really like everything about Shane Taylor Promotions. I like just who they are as a grouping, and again, with the other two factions from our show, I love the Elegance brand. I'm waiting for them to do much more now that Ash is back, and I'm waiting to see the growth of the Vanity Project. Losing Bryce Donovan, losing Zeta Steele, who I ultimately think will probably end up being the biggest star out of everybody so far been in the Vanity Project. They're new, they're green, they just left the development to join development. So we gotta see their growth. But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Look on the screen what we got coming up for the rest of the month of February. We are getting ready for March. It's gonna be good. We're about to hit WrestleMania. We're going to hit Revolution. It's going to be a good show. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic Creations 52 on Instagram, the 215 on Twitter, and as always, Anna J, Chris Statlander, William Nightingale, Priscilla Kelly, Ada Dawn, and Bailey. Holla at your boy. Peace.